Steel Curtain at Kennywood is an SNS hyper-looping roller coaster that opened in 2019 at Kennywood. In that year, this roller coaster received a Golden Ticket Award and holds records such as highest inversion on the planet and, at 9 inversions, the most inversions on any roller coaster in North America. And in today's video, we will be doing the full in-depth review of this roller coaster, going through 10 categories to determine the final score of this awesome roller coaster. So let's get into the first category. Our first category is height. Steel Curtain stands at a height of 220 feet, making it a hypercoaster. This height also makes it the tallest roller coaster in Pennsylvania. And a cool record this coaster holds, which I talked about earlier, is that this coaster has the tallest inversion in the world, which is the dive drop. And for a roller coaster of this model, this height is massive. Like, when you walk up to Steel Curtain at first, this coaster towers above the skyline, especially considering where you are in Pennsylvania. This coaster is the tallest thing you'll see around. It is so massive, guys. Standing right face to face to it, it is just a massive roller coaster. So, for height, I'm going to be giving a 10. It doesn't need to be any taller. Not only is Steel Curtain really tall, but Steel Curtain is also really fast, at a maximum speed of 75 miles per hour. The only problem with this is that Steel Curtain does not maintain that speed for the full duration of the coaster. In fact, there are actually many points throughout the coaster that Steel Curtain loses its speed. For instance, at the top of every one of these inversions, Steel Curtain loses that speed. At the top of the banana roll, it loses the speed. At the top of the sea serpent roll, loses the speed. It's only until the second half of the roller coaster where you kind of leave the structural area where the zero-G stall is and the airtime hill and the dive loop. That's where you whip through those inversions. And especially in the morning, if you're riding Steel Curtain in the morning, Steel Curtain will be running really slow. It's like that with most roller coasters, though. So I will be giving an 8 for speed. Now let's talk about the drop on Steel Curtain. Steel Curtain has a 205-foot drop, and this drop is an inverting drop, a dive drop. And while most people would say this sounds like a very crazy, quote-unquote, scary drop, it really isn't. See, what most people look for in a drop is something that will whip you out of your seat if you're in the back row. However, on Steel Curtain, it does not do that. You get some solid hang time through that drop, but other than that, really nothing. Just the pure speed and gliding down the drop is really all you get from this drop. But that's okay. This drop isn't meant to whip you out of your seat. It gives some solid hang time right at the top, but it's not the best drop I've seen. One of the best drops, but nothing too crazy. I will admit, though, that it is a pretty cool drop, so I'll be awarding a 7.5 for the drop category. Airtime is going to be the next category we will be talking about, and unfortunately, Steel Curtain does not offer much of that. There are a total of 3 airtime moments on Steel Curtain. There's 2 airtime hills, and then going into the brake run, there's airtime. And while you will normally find the airtime in the back row of roller coasters, on Steel Curtain, you're going to get the strongest pops of airtime up in the front. And even when you do get airtime on Steel Curtain, it is not strong, high-quality airtime. Most of it is floater airtime, surprisingly, at least from my experience on Steel Curtain. And overall, don't walk onto Steel Curtain expecting tons of airtime, because that's not what it delivers. So I will be giving a 5 for airtime. Alright, now here's the category that everyone has been waiting for. Inversions. Steel Curtain has the most inversions in North America, at 9. Those 9 inversions are the dive drop, the banana roll, which counts as 2 inversions, the sea serpent roll, which also counts as 2 inversions, the dive loop, the 0G stall, then it goes into a corkscrew that is then immediately followed by a cutback into the brake run. And this is a very wide variety of inversions, some of them giving some great hang time, others giving some great whip. For example, both the dive drop, 0G stall, and dive loop give some good hang time, while the corkscrew, cutback, and sea serpent roll give some good whip. And currently, the most inversions I've ever experienced on any roller coaster has been on Steel Curtain. And I can tell you each of these inversions gives some high quality. The banana roll, the cutback, the dive loop, the 0G stall, those are all some great solid inversions. So for this category, I'm going to be giving a 10. Now, let's talk about the overall layout of Steel Curtain. So, the coaster begins with an obnoxiously slow lift hill, so I am going to speed up this section, just so you guys don't have to sit there in boredom. And, yeah, I timed it, the lift hill duration is 1 minute and 20 seconds, so it takes a very long time to get up to the top. But once you get up to the top, you get a great view of the whole park and West Mifflin. And then you begin your tiny pre-drop descent into the dive drop. You hang there for a sec, and then you go down into the drop. You bank over here into the banana roll. After the banana roll, you go into an airtime hill, followed by the sea serpent roll. After the sea serpent roll, you go up into the airtime hill, and then into the dive loop. Then after the dive loop, there's a little bit of straight track here, and then you go into the 0G stall. You get some great whip on that. Then you go into like a half hill there, into the corkscrew, followed by the cutback, and then you go into the final brake run. And I'd say that is a pretty solid layout. They packed in a lot. And if you're riding on a hot summer day, which I got the chance to do, this coaster hauls. It goes really, really fast. So, for the final score of overall layout, I will be giving a 9. To thoroughly enjoy a roller coaster, you need to have 2 things: smoothness and good restraints. And I can guarantee you that Steel Curtain is buttery smooth. There is not one single rough patch throughout the entire coaster, and I was actually very surprised and very impressed by this. Through my 12 rides in total on Steel Curtain, I do not remember it being rough one bit, and that is very good. So, I'm going to be giving it 10 for smoothness. There's really nothing else to say here. It is so smooth. Okay, now time to talk about restraints. And it has a lap bar, which helps. And I'm actually surprised that a 9 inversion roller coaster has a lap bar. I mean, obviously, we all know that no roller coaster needs over-the-shoulder restraints unless it's like inverted. Though we haven't found a way to have lap bars on inverted coasters yet. But I'm surprised that they only put a lap bar on a 9 inversion roller coaster, but that's actually pretty good. And for the most part, this lap bar is pretty comfortable, not painful, and overall, you just have a more open air ride experience. So a 9 is the score I will be rating restraints. Alright, now let's talk about operations. And Steel Curtain, unfortunately, during my visit at Kennywood, was not having good operations. They were only operating 1 train. However, that was because the park was dead, so that has nothing to do with it. However, these dispatches were taking like 5 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes long. They were the longest dispatches I've ever seen, and it doesn't help that the lift hill is extremely slow. I know I keep bringing that up, but seriously, like, that lift hill is very slow. And, yeah, the dispatches were taking like 5 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes long. They were the longest dispatches I've ever seen, and it doesn't help that the lift hill is extremely slow. I know I keep bringing that up, but seriously, like, that lift hill is very slow. these operations, these dispatches, were taking 4 to 6 minutes, and those are just awful operations. Like, I hate to say it, but the Kennywood ride-ops, the day I was at Kennywood, were not doing a good job. It was the same with Phantom's Revenge and Jackrabbit and Skyrocket. Basically, every coaster at Kennywood was having bad operations the day I went. And this is just my personal experience. Who knows? Maybe you guys were at Kennywood the day that they were doing 30-second dispatches on Steel Curtain, let's say. But we're doing this category based off my personal experience, and that was not a good experience. So, for operations, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give a 4. And now our final category is theming. And if you guys don't know, Steel Curtain is themed to the Pennsylvania Steelers, which is a football team. I mean, the whole color scheme of the coaster, the whole paint job, it's the Steelers colors, which is yellow and black. And you see that all over the park, not just on Steel Curtain. Like when you're walking under the bridge to enter Kennywood, they have the Steelers colors there. And honestly, I think this is not the best theme. I mean, I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm not from Pittsburgh, so I don't know too much about the Steelers. But I do know that I am not really intrigued by this theme, and they don't really do a good job at the actual theming of the coaster, other than the gift shop that you walk through after you get out of the coaster to get your on-ride photo and stuff. They have a lot of Steelers stuff in there. But other than that, it's really only the color scheme and this sign that says Steelers Country that really brings you into the world of the Steelers. So I will be giving a score of 5 for theming. And now, to end the review with the final score of Steel Curtain, I will be giving Steel Curtain a score of 9. This is an awesome, fantastic S&S hyper looping roller coaster. This is a great coaster for the Kennywood lineup. Without this coaster, the Kennywood lineup would be super bland, but this coaster is definitely a solid coaster to be in the lineup of Kennywood. I love this thing. It's really re-rideable and is overall just an awesome roller coaster. So that's going to wrap up today's roller coaster review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more coaster-related content like this, like vlogs, POVs, off-ride footage, and so much more, all coming to the channel. And as always, guys, stay on the thrill side of life.